Hey guys, Jeff here, Aromatics. I hope you can hear me. I'm in the big city today. Big city visiting my brother. Last night was a big UFC event, so we all hung out and got the UFC pay-per-view and watched Dan Cormier win the heavyweight championship. Now he has 2 belts. Windy out. Anyway, I thought I'd take this opportunity to sit outside and have a smoke and review Cornell and Diehl's Afternoon Delight and do a VR for Cobbit the Shire. He had some topics for me for my giveaway, which if you don't know about, you can check out. It's somewhere in my channel. If I can figure out how to post the link, I'll post the link to it up here. If not, it'll be down there. So first off, I am smoking some Afternoon Delight, like I said, and I'll give you a little tin note. My brother said it reminded him of a sweet ashtray. Now that he mentions it, I can kind of see that. It sounds like a bad analogy, and it kind of is like that. Have you ever walked into a hotel room and it's got that sweet smell of smoke? Someone's been smoking in there. Kind of reminds me of that. I'll read the tin, let you know what's in it, give you an idea. It says, with notes of maple and smoky campfire, blended with red and bright Virginias, fragrant Orientals, dark-fired Kentucky, and a touch of Latakia, Cornell and Diehl's Afternoon Delight will have you falling in love all over again. So that's a lot of ingredients. When I first ordered this, I kind of ordered it on a whim. I was looking at maple blends, and this, I thought it's probably just going to be like some maple English or something like that. So I really didn't have much expectations for it. But when I first lit it up, it kind of hit me like, whoa, this is nothing like what I expected. So I was expecting sort of a Latakia, like a sort of an aromatic English type of blend, but not at all. What the first thing that hits you is the mouthfeel, like the heaviness of it is probably one of the heaviest mouthfeel tobaccos that I've smoked. Very reminiscent of, if you've ever had Big and Burley, how thick that is. And I find Big and Burley is actually it's too much for me, it's too full. But this has that maple flavoring that I thought, it was going to be aromatic, but it's blended just right to the point where that maple just takes the edge off those dark-fired Burleys and the Latakia, so that it makes it actually tastes sort of like a sweet, mellow cigar, a real heavy, like a mellow but heavy cigar. Not a strong cigar, just, yeah, it's hard to explain. It just has a deep earthiness that those smoky tobaccos and the maple put together, you'd almost not even know that it was a maple until you're told, and then you're like, yeah, I can see that there's maple in there. That just gives it just takes the edge off, really. Must be a humid day today. Pipe doesn't want to stay lit. Now there are red Virginias, red and bright Virginias and Orientals, but you can barely taste them. They're just in the background. Just a slight tartness there. But mostly it just tastes like a heavy, smoky Burley blend with that maple that gives it an earthy, sweet taste. So while I'm smoking this, I guess I'll do my VR for Cobbit the Shire. Cobbit of the Shire. And he asks, one of the questions he asked is, how would you convince your spouse or your better half if they're worried about your pipe smoking? Well, this may sound harsh, but me being a libertarian would say, if you pay the bills, well, even if you don't pay the bills, but if you pay the bills, You're the king of the castle. You should be able to smoke, do whatever you want. It's your life that you're ultimately responsible for. But at the same time, if you're married or with somebody, you have to be compassionate. That makes sense, obviously. So in that case, what could you do to be able to smoke and be compassionate and understanding to your better half? Well, for one, I would look at the studies. Like the studies, first of all, there's no proof that smoking a pipe or even a cigar occasionally is that bad for your health, if at all bad for your health. In fact, the studies may actually say the opposite. But even if they don't believe that, and that doesn't work, like I look at it like some people, they make a mountain out of a molehill. Like the saying goes, strain out a gnat and swallow the camel. It's like we nitpick the little things that don't really matter, and then the big things, like, people will say, that smoking a pipe is bad, but they won't think twice about eating junk food all the time, or sugar all the time, or potato chips all the time, which everyone knows if you eat all the time, especially sugar and stuff, is bad for you. So, but we do it anyway, and we don't really care. Go to McDonald's or whatever. We just live our lives and do what we want to do, right? And everything you should have some moderation, of course. So there's that. But even if that isn't good enough, maybe what you could do is make a compromise. You could say, well, I want to smoke, and if you're concerned about my health, maybe there's some other things in your life that you could change to offset that. Maybe say, all right, I will smoke, but I'll promise to take care of myself more. Like maybe I'll change my diet up a little bit, or go for walks, or work out, or whatever. You could do that. From my experience, if this helps at all, I have asthma. I've always had asthma since I was a kid, and pretty bad. Like I take my inhaler quite often. But I can say from experience that smoking cigars and pipes that has affected it zero. There's zero effect. I can smoke, makes no difference. The things that make a difference are dust, pollen, hot, could be humid weather, those types of things, pets. So when it comes to lungs, like you would think that if smoking would affect your lungs at all, like a pipe where you don't inhale, or a cigar, someone like me would definitely notice that. Well, I'm fairly athletic, and I have asthma, and I've smoked cigars and pipes for a long time now with zero effects. My cardio is as great as ever. I feel as great as ever. Physically, feel great. So ultimately, that's what my personal opinion is we're individuals, and we should be free to do what we want to do. So, but of course we have to take other people in consideration. So you have to decide what's more important to you, what you want or what your spouse wants. But at the same time, I would take, if maybe you could take some of that advice that I said, is just maybe make a deal, or just give the studies, or just say like there's no proof that it's actually dangerous. So yeah. So that's about all I have to say about that. As far as this afternoon delight, yes, I really enjoy it. It's a really good blend. And I got it just before I got the 5 o'clock shadow, but I ended up smoking the 5 o'clock shadow more. Not because it's necessarily better, but because I had high expectations for this after I smoked it, and it was fairly good. Whereas I had low expectations of the 5 o'clock shadow, but it was great. It exceeded, so I just ended up smoking that more. So, but this is a great blend, and if it sounds interesting, something just a nice sweet, smoky, but not too sweet, just enough to take off that edge. But you want a real heavy, burly type of flavor, smoky campfire, but not. It doesn't taste like a dark fired, and it doesn't taste like a Latakia. It's just smoky and thick and burly, with a little bit of tartness and tang from the Virginias, and a little bit of maple. So even if you like aromatics, and you don't like Englishes or whatever, this might scratch that itch for you too, for that maple flavor. So definitely something to consider. Cornell and Diehl's Afternoon Delight. All right, so I'm going to get on with my beautiful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Aromatics, signing out.